suppose you could say it's part of the natural aging process, you could say. And some men do try and make excuses or learn to live with losing their hair by saying, oh, it makes me look distinguished. Makes me feel, like I'm a man. There's arguments about virility, and men who lose their hair have so much more testosterone, and therefore they must be true men. On the other hand, you kind of think, I'm going to have to buy a hat. I mean, that's what it means to me. I'm losing my hair. It's been going over the years. The best way to describe it, used to have quite thick, curly, dark hair. It's now got bits of grey in it. Fine with that, no problem at all. What I am noticing is winters are getting colder, despite global warming. A hat really makes a difference. And there's a sort of bald patch at the back, which makes you look a bit like Friar Tuck. And then the front's going as well. It's significantly thinner on the front. And it doesn't bother me, but it kind of does. And I know for some people, it's a real problem, losing your hair. Let's find out from someone who's been through it and affected him so much that he set up his own sort of company, organisation, helpline to try and help men who are going through this. He's Spencer Stevenson, and he joins us this morning on BBC Radio Stoke. Morning, Spencer.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
No, it's always good to talk to you. Thanks for coming on. First of all, if we could do the science bit first, why is it that particularly men lose their hair?
Well, men that lose their hair are genetically kind of on the back foot. The hair is susceptible to dihydrotestosterone. We've all got it in our bodies, man. Unfortunately, the gene pool or your hereditary gene pool may set you up to not be able to resist against, or your hair cannot resist against dihydrotestosterone, and therefore miniaturizes and dies. So it's not about having extra testosterone in your body. It's just having a genetic trait whereby your hair just cannot resist from being attacked by dihydrotestosterone.
So the argument then that bald men are more virile doesn't really hold up, does it?
No, it doesn't, but it sounds good.
Yeah, it makes us feel better. How did it affect you when you lost your hair? Because you were quite young, weren't you?
Yeah, I was 21 when I lost my hair, and it really affected me and my self-esteem and my confidence, as we've previously talked about when I've been on your show. And, the fact of the matter is, I think the majority of men would rather have hair than not. And it is a silent epidemic. There are hundreds of thousands of men waking up every day that want to do something about their hair or realise that they're losing their hair. But what is really important is, especially these days, is we're just bombarded with false information via social media advertising, everybody on the too trying to sell you something. Now, 99% of products and services that are out there do not work. So what you've got to be very careful of is if you want to do something and commit to or doing something about your hair loss, there are proven treatments out there that can help you. There's information on my website. I've got a free ebook that you can just take for free. The information's in there. My website is spexhair.com. And, at the end of the day, it's a personal choice, but it really did affect me. I know it affects countless men. It's a multi-billion-pound a year industry for a reason, because people would rather have hair than not.
How did it affect you?
It really dented my self-esteem. It really affected my confidence. Hair gives you your image. It frames your face. And at a young age, I was called the Hoff. I had so much hair. So it was a real double whammy for me to have the realisation that my hair was miniaturising and I was losing it. So I pretty much threw everything in the kitchen sink, trying to prevent the process, and went through and learned the hard way. And that's why I set up my website and my services to protect other people from making the same mistakes I make, which people are doing every day, day in, day out, due to their desperation and vulnerability, which I experienced. And I know the emotional aspects are devastating, especially when you lose your hair at a young age. But it's still going to take men at older, and people say it doesn't really trouble me, it doesn't really worry me. Well, the question that they need to ask themselves is, great, cool, but if you would rather have hair, there are now products and services out there that can actually help maintain, preserve, and keep your hair. So it's just about educating yourself, and if you want to do something about it, there are options available to you.
We'll talk about the options in a second. First, though, how much did you spend trying to keep your hair or restore your hair or get new hair?
Yeah. Well, I spent in the region of £30,000 to £40,000 over the course of 20 years. Now, I'm not the control. I started out with the Yellow Pages as a resource and a research tool. So I kind of jumped from the frying pan into the fire, had numerous very bad hair transplants. Nowadays, if I have my time again, I would probably only need to spend in the region of around £5,000 to £10,000 alongside a preventative treatment regime of kind of proven treatments. But from a hair transplant point of view, and it's really important to all your listeners, hair transplant surgery is a last resort, okay? It's important to just not jump in, just get a hair transplant because you're losing your hair and I want to have my hair back. Hair loss is progressive. And you've got to be very aware you've got to create a foundation and a platform, much like a builder who's going to build a wall to stand the test of time. You need to put it on a foundation if you're going to venture down the road of hair transplantation. However, I run kind of a helpline, as you say, about hair transplants. I work with leading hair transplant doctors all over. We run a radio show called The Bald Truth. But we very much promote surgery is a last resort.
What's your first resort then, Spencer? Where do you start? If you're starting to lose a bit, maybe you wake up in the morning and there's a bit on the pillow, or you notice in the shower you're clogging up the plug hole. What do you do?
Well, proven treatments. There is Propecia, which is finasteride, which is a DHT blocker, which can help reverse balding. There's a shampoo called Grow MD shampoo, which has got DHT blockers in it, and alongside a very powerful ingredients to help protect and preserve the hair. There's the standard Regain, Rogaine, which you can buy over the counter at a pharmacy. So they're the three tried and tested treatments to preserve, protect, and prevent further loss.
Okay, we must leave it there. Really good to speak to you. Thanks very much for your time this morning. Spencer Stevenson. Have a look at Specs Hair for more details about the work he's doing at the moment. And if it is something that troubles you, check out his podcast as well, The Bald Truth. How worried